are you going to expand on the lore, deep dive into it, or you prefer leaving things up for wider interpretation?
I'm guessing you mean maybe that like I should, as in like, will I tell you like how things are, what the
Mm.
reality is, and like solve some of the mysteries? And the answer to that is absolutely no, because it feels like a cop-out answer because this happens all the time
Yeah.
with writers, right? Where they're like, no, I'm not going to actually give you answers about what this is or what this means. But it's also, and we're just like, and then the standard answer is like, it's yours now. You get to make of it what you will. But the thing is, like, it's just not interesting if I give you an answer to this. Like, I have an answer, but like, if I just hand it to you, I think it takes the fun away
Mm.
from the discussion, and it also tells like there's only like one way to interpret this now. And I think, I don't know, the discussions that people have about everything is just way more interesting, I
Mm-hmm.
think. And I also feel like yes, I have an answer to these questions, but that doesn't necessarily mean other answers couldn't essentially fit, because
Mm-hmm.
I see some theories out there and I'm like, damn, I should have thought of that. but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I feel like there's maybe like some things that I think would be cool to like take a deeper dive into and clear things up and give people like more clues and more tools to sort of like theory craft and
Mm-hmm.
and like figure out what they feel, or maybe expand the lore in different ways. But I mean, we'll see if that happens. But yeah, there is like a lot of work that is still sort of floating around in the nothing, in the cloud that is from my brain,
Mm-hmm.
that could maybe be used in the future. That depends. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah.
I do find it. I started thinking it playing, the Dark Souls / Soulsborne series, writing that leaves a lot of room for speculation, and also within both like just the game's own, material and also slightly on the meta level, has like windows for stories to have multiple answers, or for histories to have like multiple sources, even conflicting sources, because like even in these games, at least a couple of them, the ones that I've dove deep into, information is very contradictory on purpose. Like two items could be telling you two different stories about the same creature or origin, so you have to kind of like guess and realize that shit, people are actually like, actual characters in the game have also like tried to do this and have been wrong with the theories and shit. So like crafting a story like that and having it make sense in how open-ended it is, I think it is a hell of fucking cool. So kudos for that.
Oh man, it was a challenge, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Like a game like this doesn't really lend itself to story the way it would traditionally be delivered, and I come from a more traditional skill set when it comes to writing.
Right.
Like I mean, it's all unofficial. Like I've never like published anything, but the kind of skill set that I cultivated myself is more like traditional kind of writing.
Right.
But thankfully, I mean, I do have a design background in video games, so combining the two, like that, saved me from a lot of suffering. But it was still, boy, was it an uphill battle. And I think like, I think people underestimate generally how hard it is to write a story in a medium that's interactive,
Yes.
uh, while also making sure that players feel like they have agency in it, because you have to account for so many different factors. You cannot, like, if you read a book, it's a linear experience. Like people can interpret it different ways. People can like latch onto different things. But if you write a story for a video game, you have no idea what people are going to see when. You have no idea like what kind of state they're going to be in when they experience it, whether they're going to be screaming kids in their living room while they're playing the game, or it's going to be they're in their man cave or whatever. Like there's like so many different factors that sort of, and then also the way that the community that often has to communicate like gameplay, in a sense of like, this is how you play this game, this is the context in which you're doing this is why, this is your goal, this is your context, this is all of that. Like it has to do a lot of heavy work, and I think it's quite tricky.
Yeah.
And it's not something that Coffee Stain had ever really done before, which kind of, it bit us in the ass in a bit, in a sense, because we just didn't have experience with like how do we actually do this, and yeah, if you don't understand something, you often tend to underestimate it. So yes.
I'd still say it turned out pretty damn great.
I think I'm pretty happy with what we managed to
Yeah.
do with the time we had and the resources we had.
Yeah.
Like, it's not what I wanted it to be when I was dreaming it up, but I think it was what was pretty reasonable for the circumstances. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's also one of those things where like you always could do more, but it's not always worth the cost.
Yeah.
Um, yep.
GG.